for daily Ask Reddit. r/Ask Reddit. Parents of identical twins. What was your honey? I switched the kids. Moment. My cousin has 2 sets of twins. They are 21 months apart. She can tell them all apart. They are all teen boys now, and damned if anybody else can. Not even their dad. The younger ones look like the older ones too, so that complicates things even more. It's like she and her spouse are running an illegal cloning operation out of their home. Good kids, all of them. They take advantage of their situations to hilarious levels. They love cosplaying stormtroopers at conventions and pull pranks at school a lot. I've asked my cousin how she knows. She says it's little details. A tiny freckle on one, shallower chin dimple on the other, slight change in voices, different clothing styles, etc. I'm glad she can keep it all straight. I could never. I had a classmate that has a twin sister. One day her twin, her and her boyfriend, went from school by train. Classmate sat with her boyfriend, and I sat with her sister. Boyfriend had to use the toilet, and when he was gone, they got an idea. Apparently they never tried to switch to see if he would notice. So, they quickly switched some clothes. They were dressed similarly, changed their hairstyles, and switched the seats. When he came back, he looked at one, confused, then at the other, repeated the action several more times, then looked at his girlfriend, and was like, really? While he started laughing. Lol, how long was he in the bathroom that they had time to change their hair and everything? Must have been reassuring that he immediately knew the difference though. Identical twin here. When I was 4, we were at Disney World with all my cousins who are around the same age. I wandered off for just a minute, and my family took that time to move on to go somewhere else. When my mom was doing a head count, my brother moved, and she counted him twice, so it took them a few minutes to realize I was lost. Some nice stranger saw I was crying, and noticed I was lost, and helped look for my family. My dad eventually spotted me, and hopped over a 7-foot fence to come get me. Security didn't like that very much, and they almost kicked him out. But everything worked out in the end. Your brother knew what he was doing. He wanted you to be left behind. Keep a close eye on him. He might murder you and pretend to be you. Mom of identicals here. Not really one moment yet, but I had them by C-section, and for some reason it's always bothered me that I may have gotten them mixed up. When we finally took the hospital bracelets off, they had no real differences as infants, so I think about that at least 5 times a day. Therefore now, identical twin here. My dad intentionally swapped our ID bracelets many times when we were infants in order to stop any argument about who was older. His words. My mom is an identical twin, mirror twins. Her twin lives across the country, but when they get together they find it hilarious to get the same haircut, dress the same, and even record voicemails for each other. Her twin has a slightly stronger accent. There was nothing more frustrating as a teenager than coming home and lamenting to my mom and suddenly she goes, "I'm not your mom, ha 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 ha." When they were kids, they often swapped dates with each other, and my mom even tricked her twin's date into buying her chocolate, teddy bear and flowers on Valentine's Day. They also took tests for each other. Growing up, my grandmother would get confused because as infants and toddlers they'd always somehow end up in the same crib or bed and she would confuse who was who. To this day, they still have their own language from childhood and get feelings when the other is in emotional turmoil. My grandfather and his twin brother were like this. They actually wrote and published a book with a chapter in it detailing all the debauchery they got into. My favorite story was that they had to renew their driver's licenses and one of them couldn't make the appointment. So one of them just went twice and just put on a hat the second time. LMAO. Mine are only 16 months old, but to us they look different. They have different head shapes. Normally a baby will settle in the pelvic bone leading up to birth. Well, they both can't do that, so one has a more round head, while the other's is more oval. So while they have the same features, their head shapes gives them each their own appearance. One has a faint birthmark on his left arm, so I will know if they ever try any tomfoolery or bamboozlement. I will say I verbally get them tossed around. Baby B has been climbing things and getting into mischief lately. Then all of the sudden baby A decided to do the exact same thing. So my default instinct was baby B don't. Baby A, you, stop that. Not a parent of twins, but I was in algebra with a boy who's a twin. As a newer kid I didn't realize he had a twin and I never saw them together. One day I borrowed a pencil from him during class. The next day, in class, I give it back. He was confused as duck. I was confused as fuck as to why he was so damn confused, but he took the pencil anyways, then promptly walked over to his brother, who was in the same goddamn class, to return the stupid pencil. They sat next to one another. I was a dumb kid. I cringe to this day. Also, when I was in the military I knew twin brothers who took a lot of offense to being mixed up. I sensed they didn't like one another, but their recruiter didn't care when both were sent to basic at the same time, in the same squadron for the same job. When they graduated I suppose someone else thought it was a shame to separate them, because they both went to the same base, worked side by side, and were fucking roommates. Felt kinda bad for them.